Hey there, Eric with you. Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to speak to you today regarding something called, the term called the Bliss Point. You might not have heard of the Bliss Point before, but you surely experienced it if you've ever sat down with a bag of chips or maybe a package of cookies and you start eating them and it feels like you just cannot stop. You cannot stop until they are all gone, until you've eaten the entire bag, the entire package of cookies. And there is a reason for that, and that is what the bliss point is. The bliss point is actually a term that they use in the food industries, in these huge behemoth billion-dollar food companies that produce foods, and especially foods for children, for kids. They have this term called a bliss point where they make the food so it's almost irresistible and it's highly addicting too. These food companies, these huge companies, actually hire scientists, chemists. Yeah, the guys who wear the white coats, the guys and girls who wear the white coats and the microscopes. They are employed by these food industries, and what they do is they make a food and they add all these different ingredients and chemicals and additives until they can get to that certain point where it is irresistible and addicting, and that is what the bliss point is. So these chemists, these scientists will take sugar, they'll add sugar just to make it the right amount of sweetness to it. They'll put salt in to make it just salty enough, again, that is so appealing to us. They'll throw fat in to give it some richness, the richfulness in the food. They also will look at the actual color of the food. They can change the colors to make it more appealing to kids and children. The texture, how it feels, is also part of the bliss point. And of course, the smell. The smell is a big part of that bliss point also. So they'll use all these different ingredients and additives and chemicals until they can get to that perfect, irresistible, highly addicting food, and that is the BP, the bliss point. And they'll have people consume these foods, and they'll test, they'll experiment, they'll modify it with all these additives until they can get to the bliss point. Some of these companies will even take images of the brain. In our brain, there are specific areas where we have addictive areas of the brain that will actually light up when we eat certain foods that are highly appealing to us. So they'll have people eat these foods, they'll take these brain images, and they'll look for those areas of the brain to start lighting up. And then they'll know they are on the right track to getting to that bliss point. And when these areas, these addictive part of our brain start to light up, start to be highlighted, they release endorphins, these chemical messages that make us feel good. One of those being dopamine. You might have heard of dopamine before. This neurotransmitter, this chemical message that makes us feel good. So you can see if this part of the brain is being lit up by a food that has a high bliss point, how it can become highly addictive, especially the children. And what we see also is that as kids eat more and more of these types of foods with a high bliss point, say it's a bag of chips, that those little bodies, their brain starts to adapt to it. So maybe a bag of chip in the past would elicit a high endorphin response and make the kids feel great. But as they keep consuming it, they're not getting the same amount, the same effect. So they have to eat even more of it to get a high endorphin release. Also, these scientists, these chemists design these foods so they're not satiating the children. It doesn't fill them up, so they can keep eating and never get filled, which is another part of the bliss point. And of course, financially, they can price these foods, very, very low. So financially, anyone can afford them. We can buy these foods in great quantity without really being hurt in the pocketbook, in our wallet, because of the cost of the food. So all of these factors, and again, they target the main consumer for these Bliss Point foods are our children. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. They say you have to know your enemy, and our enemy has a very, very, very strong weapon called the Bliss Point. So if you could please pass this on to as many parents as you can, if we can start to educate and get this information out more and more, we can really make a difference. The health of kids these days is plummeting at an alarming rate. So much obesity, diabetes, liver disease, just to name a few, are afflicting children today. And again, so much of it can be prevented, can be reversed. So please, if you can pass this on to as many parents as you know, if you can like and share this video also, that will just, again, get it out to more and more people, and we can start to make a difference. Okay, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.